Shador Sanders has found himself at the center of a storm that refuses to calm down. And this time, the spotlight isn't just on him, but on his family and critics as well. It all began when his mother penned a passionate message to young athletes and football fans. A blistering statement directed at the negativity surrounding her son. Her words were sharp, cutting through the noise like a blade. This is what impotent, cancerous, envious energy looks like. This type of evil goes way back. You can cut it with a knife embedded in blood and bone, seeping through all of the rotting wormholes it has. What and who does he really represent? His family and peers should be embarrassed to know and let this on their platforms. There's no room for this type in sports. Please, enough. It was a mother's defense, raw and emotional, showing just how deep the wounds have gone. The reason for this fiery response? Rex Ryan. In a recent interview, the former coach-turned-analyst went all in on Shador Sanders, declaring that the young quarterback simply wasn't working hard enough to put himself into the starting conversation. But what stung wasn't just the words. It was the tone, sharp, cold, and intimidating. Ryan didn't frame it as guidance or constructive criticism. Instead, it came across like an attack, a public shaming meant to cut Sanders down. Almost immediately, the backlash began. Sanders' camp didn't sit back in silence. His mother's words made it clear they view Ryan's remarks not only as unfair, but as an act of malice. And they weren't the only ones. Fans erupted in anger, questioning why Ryan would go after a young quarterback who hasn't even been given the chance to prove himself in the NFL. What exactly was his evidence? Ryan never offered any, and that's what infuriated people most. Sanders has been putting in long hours with the scout team, grinding every day to earn his moment. Yet Ryan painted a picture of laziness without providing a shred of proof. It looked like an attempt to stir controversy for the sake of headlines. But this time, the strategy backfired. Some fans and analysts are asking a very simple question. Why attack Sanders now? Why go after a rookie while veterans like Joe Flacco continue to rack up losses and turnovers without facing the same fire? Too many, it feels like a double standard. Instead of holding proven, experienced quarterbacks accountable for their poor play, Ryan chose to unload his harshest words on a young man waiting patiently for his shot. That choice raised eyebrows and suspicions. Is Ryan simply out of touch? Or is there something deeper, a desire to hold Sanders back because of who he is and what he represents? Shador Sanders has never been shy about speaking his mind, and perhaps that's part of the issue. He has openly criticized the Browns' handling of their quarterback situation and even taken shots at Joe Flacco. In one bold statement, he said what many fans were already thinking, that he's better than some of the quarterbacks currently starting in the NFL. For a young player, still stuck on the scout team, that's a defiant message. But instead of showing arrogance, it reflects the confidence of someone who knows his worth and refuses to settle for less. Yet even with his frustration boiling, Sanders has managed to remain grounded. He often reminds himself that everything happens for a reason, that God has a plan, and that patience is part of the process. He has admitted that being on the scout team isn't where he wants to be, but instead of sulking, he's made the best of it. He's continued to train in the off-season, pushing himself in every city he visits, ensuring he's ready when the moment finally comes. Critics like Rex Ryan may question his work ethic, but those who know him best see the opposite, a relentless competitor quietly preparing for the day. He gets his chance to silence everyone, and Shedeur embraces pressure. He has said outright that he thrives on it, that situations where the heat is turned up don't faze him but fuel him. That mindset separates him from others his age, and it's why so many believe he has what it takes to succeed in the NFL. While Ryan may try to paint him as unprepared or uncommitted, the reality is that Sanders has shown nothing but drive and determination. His comments about being better than some current starters aren't idle boasts there. Declarations of intent. The divide over Sanders has become crystal clear. On one side, critics like Rex Ryan insist he hasn't proven enough and should be kept in his place. On the other, voices like Stephen A. Smith are rallying behind him. Smith has been vocal in his support, brushing aside the noise and focusing on Sanders' numbers and potential. Over 7,000 passing yards, a 72% completion rate, And consistent poise under pressure, those aren't the stats of someone unprepared. For Smith, the case is simple. The Browns need to stop hesitating and give Sanders his opportunity. In his eyes, Sanders isn't just ready. He's exactly what Cleveland needs. That's why Ryan's comments have backfired so badly. Instead of undermining Sanders, they've highlighted the unfair scrutiny he's under and rallied more people to his side. Fans, family, and even analysts who once sat on the fence are now defending him more fiercely than ever. Ryan's tone came across as personal, almost like an attack rather than analysis, and that's where he lost credibility. Without evidence, without balance, his words looked less like insight and more like an attempt to create drama. Meanwhile, Sanders has only grown stronger in the face of the criticism. His mother's passionate defense reminded the world that behind every young athlete is a family carrying the weight of these battles too. The backlash against Ryan shows just how much support Sanders has and how eager people are to see him finally step onto the field. The contrast is striking. Ryan's negativity versus Sanders' confidence, Ryan's doubt versus Stephen A. Smith's belief. And through it all, Sanders has remained focused on his mission. At the heart of the debate lies one undeniable truth: Shador Sanders hasn't even had his shot yet. To criticize him so harshly before he's taken a single NFL snap feels premature, if not deliberately unfair. If Ryan wanted to make a point, he could have directed it at veterans who continue to fail week after week. But instead, he chose Sanders, and in doing so, he may have only made the young quarterback's case stronger. Now the question falls to the fans and the Browns organization. How long will they allow Sanders to sit and watch, while voices like Ryan's fuel controversy and frustration? How long can they afford to ignore the talent, confidence, and preparation waiting just behind the curtain? Because every day the pressure grows and every day the calls for Sanders get louder. So what do you think? Did Rex Ryan cross the line with his comments about Shedeur Sanders? Or was he just being brutally honest? Should a young quarterback who hasn't even taken a snap in the NFL be judged this harshly while veterans escape scrutiny? And do you agree with Stephen A. Smith that it's time for the Browns to stop hesitating and finally give Shador his shot? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the latest updates in this unfolding quarterback drama.